Good evening, wrestling fans, and welcome to the Survivor Series edition of WrestleTalkShow, the show that discusses anything and everything wrestling, WWE, TNA, ROH, anything to do with wrestling, we cover it. Tonight we're going to showcase what to expect on tonight's Survivor Series, which I'll be covering, not virtually, but I've ordered it, so I'll have a full breakdown report for you, either midpoint as things progress or a full detailed report at the end of the event or first thing tomorrow morning, whatever comes first. First off, let's get the ratings out of the way. This past Thursday's TNA Impact scored a 1.1 with 1.4 million viewers. It was 1.15 the previous week, so another decrease in ratings. TNA needs to get a clue yet again. Reaction that followed Impact, surprise, surprise, scored a 0.59 with just about 705,000 viewers. Friday Night SmackDown scored a 1.82, up a little bit from the 1.64 it scored the week before. In WWE news, or wrestling news, I'm sorry, Luke Gallows comments on his release and says that it came as a surprise that he was working with WWE Creative and was set to debut his new babyface character just in 1 week, but that was before his release, so I guess he's not going to be doing that. Apparently he was working with Freddie Prinze Jr. to update the babyface character he had been trying to get over for months, and I guess WWE just seen that it wasn't going anywhere. He goes on to comment that he doesn't think he was given enough mic time and essentially not enough time to get over because there was, like he said in a direct quote, virtually no mic time. Japanese wrestler Gran Noina I may have mispronounced that. I'm pretty sure I mispronounced that. My apologies to all of his fans. Dies at age 33. He briefly wrestled for ECW in the 1990s and was part of the famous 1995 Super J Cup that also involved wrestlers like Chris Jericho, Chris Benoit, and Ultimo Dragon, among others. Friday night, Shawn Michaels and family are involved in a car accident. Shawn Michaels reports that kids are fine, everyone's fine, car is built like a tank, and no real damage. Moving on to the Survivor Series lineup. Here's what WWE has confirmed for tonight's pay-per-view in no particular order. Daniel Bryan versus Ted DiBiase for the United States Championship. This one will be good, but it's kind of weird because they only gave the feud a week before they throw it into pay-per-view, so not much time to build anything, but I guess it works. The long-awaited match between Randy Orton and Wade Barrett for the WWE title with John Cena as the special guest referee, which is why 3/4 of the buys will come from that match and that match alone. Among others that are hyped, particularly they hyped it again on Friday night, Kane versus Edge for the world title. You remember Edge on SmackDown and over the last couple weeks has been taunting Kane's father, Paul Bearer, and Friday night Kane came this close to obtaining his father. My only argument, and I understand it's a story, I'm not trying to overread it, but my only argument was in that segment on SmackDown, Kane runs up to the van, finds his father, but instead of getting his father out of the van and untied, which there was plenty of time for, he looks around for Edge, who appears on top of the van and attacks him, and then drives off with Paul Bearer. Just seemed a little backwards, but that's me. Keeping up with Survivor Series tradition, the 8-man elimination match Team Alberto Del Rio versus Team Rey Mysterio in, again, an 8-man Survivor Series traditional elimination match. Dolph Ziggler versus Caval for the Intercontinental Championship. John Morrison versus Sheamus in singles competition, which promises to be a good match, because if you ask me, John Morrison has a lot to offer wrestling, and he hasn't been pushed. He's been pushed, but we haven't gotten to see exactly what he's capable of and how good he is at it. So that'll be interesting to see what he does at tonight's pay-per-view and in tonight's match. Lay Cool versus Natalya for the Unified Divas title. My pick on this one is Natalya. I don't know if they... It's like the titles, it's like everything else in WWE. If they made the Hart Dynasty seem important, I think that this match would really be that much more watchable. If you made put an emphasis on how important the Hart Dynasty is, and yeah, they laid it out, the nieces and nephews and families of the British Bulldog and Bret Hart. But if you stress the importance, maybe the match would come off as a little more important. Especially now, it's not the women's title anymore. This Divas title is strictly for decorative purposes only. And I guess you can call that. I think Natalya can put up a good match, so I don't want to call it a pay-per-view filler, but it doesn't really look like anything else when you compare it to everything else that's on the card. And finally, Nexus members Heath Slater and Justin Gabriel versus Santino and Kozlov for the World Tag Team titles. You've got to think that there's going to be some Nexus assistance here, especially since Nexus's lead member Wade Barrett he's a competitor in the main event. So I see Nexus all over this, unfortunately. You can watch this video and many more videos on WrestleTalkShow.webs.com. Email any show suggestions, comments, concerns to cwecompany.com. Keep track of us on Facebook tonight. We'll be posting all kinds of updates, maybe not virtual, like I said, virtual time updates, but definitely updates on the important things. And feel free to friend and follow us at facebook.com/cwecompany, as well as twitter.com/cwecompany. Survivor Series comes to you live on pay-per-view at 7:30. Well, they're announcing 8 p.m., but I'd like to think the free-for-all starts at 7:30, like it has every year. Until then, stay tuned for our Survivor Series coverage coming up either during or directly after Survivor Series. And if you ordered the pay-per-view, enjoy.